Hey everyone, welcome to Colorbar. I'm Kim Opdyke, COO of DineTech, and I'm here with Betsy Davis, our CMO of Sandy Alexander.
Hey everybody. Hey Kim.
Hi Betsy, good to see you.
Always good to see you, but you're about to hit the road.
I am about to hit the road. I'm about to go to Chicago, which I know is one of your favorite places.
It's one of my favorite cities. I miss it every day.
It's a great city.
Yeah, but you're going third year in a row.
Third year in a row, we're going to MEG.
Yes.
So the Marketing Executive Group. So that is the marketing forum that meets every May before the National Restaurant Show.
Perfect.
So I'm super excited. This is our third year being a sponsor, and just love going, love seeing everybody. The great thing about this event is it's just a big exchange of ideas. So you've got everybody from marketers to operators from all different sizes of brands, but everybody just really talking dining. So it's like, if you're a dining geek like I am, you've got about 2.5 days of like really being in your element.
This is right up your alley.
Yeah.
I'm actually really sad that I'm not going to be there.
I know.
We had the D-Scoop.
Yep.
Colorbar. I'm going to be in Long Beach at D-Scoop at the same time because I had hoped to finally get to go with you this year.
I know.
Because I was looking at the agenda. Some really fun topics, some cool keynotes.
There's a lot of really, really interesting topics. I think one of the things that I think is really interesting is the fact that, well, first of all, they always have great topics and they always have phenomenal keynote speakers. They do a great job. So it's always very, very interesting. This year, though, it just seems like Kismet that everything has aligned from what they are talking about to what we've been talking about on Colorbar, for our past episodes as to all the trends that we're seeing in marketing, and how each industry that we work with or work within we're all having the same conversation and what that conversation looks like. So I was super excited, to see even the keynote that's opening up the event, Mike Cesario, the founder and CEO of Liquid Death.
Right.
So I can't wait to hear him speak. I love his whole point about talking about content that has to be entertaining as well as resonate, because that's what people remember. And this whole concept of an entertainment first philosophy to help brands transform their,
exactly what I wrote down, entertainment first approach
to the guest experience. And everything that we've been talking about an immersive experience or experiential type of in-person experience. So to have that kind of be at the forefront where we want to drive people in person, we want to look how our brand interacts, and that whole idea of creating that entertainment, personalized, immersive experience, and how that's going to work within the dining space. So I'm super excited.
I would be really interested to understand his personality. Like when I was researching it and just seeing their website, it's Murder Your Thirst, and it's sparkling water, but it's called Liquid Death, which is and I see it at ball games and things like that. So it's going to be really interesting. Hopefully you hear a little bit from him about how the brand started and that whole concept and seeing it come to life and grow.
Hopefully we will, but I think we will. But yeah, it's got a whole different edge and a whole different feel to it. But it's I don't know if it's actually emerging anymore, but it's kind of new to us or new to me. But just his whole approach and what he's speaking about, I think just ties into what we've been discussing in our space even.
Yeah, you even talked about a past keynote that happened a year or so ago from Nike, who came and spoke, and again, speaking about different industries cross-pollinating, and everybody's trying to figure out the same thing. I love that they've had people from different industries come and be keynotes, but you said the gentleman from Nike was
Greg Hoffman
really
came
engaging.
And spoke. He was very engaging, and just, his book is called Emotion by Design. I think I have that right. And it's a fascinating book. So he started out as an intern at Nike. I mean, he was an art student and started out as an intern. And he's really the one who kind of built the vision and the way the brand creates emotion that connects with consumers. And, it's that type of connection and that emotion that, you're looking to translate into other industries or other brands. And he was fascinating. So I love the fact that everybody who's there is not necessarily restaurant related, but all their stories and how they build or transform brands and companies, there's always some little Snicker snack parcel that you can take away from it and take home with you and be like, this is so cool, can we try this?
Well, I mean, even if you think about the customers that we work with,
Yeah.
they're always asking us, what are other industries doing that we need to be thinking about for our own? So if I'm sitting in a dining customer meeting, they're at, like, I'm talking about what the automotive space is doing or what the
Right.
retail space is doing. And so same kind of concept.
Yeah, so they always do very cool things like that. So
The other one that I'm sad that I'm missing
Yes.
is George Felix, who is the CMO of Chili's.
Yes.
And they've just seen this huge growth. I think they were saying 31% growth in a recent quarter in same store sales. So really interested to see what strategies and directions he took. I would love to have heard that. So I can't wait for you to hear those nuggets and bring back what's happening at Chili's.
Yeah, what they've done as far as having transformed that brand and then to not just have double-digit growth, but that's exponential double-digit growth.
Right.
Is super impressive. And just what they've been able to do and what their learnings have been and their takeaways, I think that'll be a very learning and yet fascinating conversation to kind of sit in on. So that's definitely one that's going to be, that may be its own Colorbar episode in and of itself. I might be back and I'll be like, people, let me tell you what I found out in Chicago.
We're going to email this to George Felix and say we want you to come on Colorbar and
Yeah,
have a
George,
conversation.
we want you to
George, come visit us.
Yeah, come visit us,
on
George.
Colorbar.
Yeah. So
continue
I
the
think that's
conversation.
going to be a very super interesting conversation as well. So that's definitely some of our favorite topics are topics of conversation there too. There's AI.
Oh, can't not have AI be part of the conversation.
Cannot not have AI be part of the conversation, but it is, and it's not just in the marketing sense of it. It's how brands are using it as like an executive strategy building tool. And so it's not just an assistant tool, it's just not a content tool, it's looking at like numbers and data and
totally makes sense.
and guest preferences and developing strategies. So
I would also be interested to see how AI is, from an operations perspective, how it's impacting the dining industry and all of the components behind the scenes, not as a guest, but what's happening behind the scenes and how AI is impacting that would be interesting to learn more about as well.
I agree. So I think that's really going to be an interesting conversation, and it keeps having a conversation like, what are we seeing other industries or other brands do? And like we've got core pockets that keep coming up, and even AI as it relates to the guest experience and how to better understand your guest data and how to use that data and in the environment that we live in today where personalization is key in how we connect consumers or guests to brands.
Yeah, you were saying earlier today, I asked you the question in advance of this conversation,
Yeah.
what are some of the things that you learned from past MEG events? And
Yeah.
you talked about the data conversation and the loyalty conversation and how it continues to be a topic. And so there seems to be a real opportunity there.
Yeah, I definitely think there is. I will have to say the data conversation as it relates to loyalty and guest and how to really leverage the data in a personal marketing experience started a couple years ago. I'm sure other people have been having it before then, but where it really at least came to this stage as it relates was a couple years ago. And that was fascinating as far as the amount of data that brands have and how to use it and how to create that messaging in a specific space, and whether that's a digital space or a print space or a combination of spaces, because omnichannel applies to how all of these restaurants talk to their guests,
Right.
to get them.
Yeah, I mean, one of the
traffic.
roundtable topics, again, still sad I'm not going to be there. 'Cause
I
I'm
know.
like, I want to hear this, but
I know.
leveraging guest data was one of the roundtable topics. Optimizing loyalty programs, we've talked about that a lot, about how people are still trying to really figure out how to improve their loyalty programs, expand the loyalty programs to new guests, and get people butts in seats, as you always say.
Butts in seats. And loyalty is always a topic of conversation. So I think that's always what are you doing? How are you doing it? because usually somebody, is there who has tried something new or is doing something different with their data and talking about, the results that they got, how they, and it's all how they managed and optimized their data.
Yeah.
So, sometimes you wouldn't think that data would be such a hot topic at a restaurant show. You'd be like, I thought we'd be talking culinary, but in this part of it where it's so marketing, that's all that's there are marketers.
I mean, we've said this before on Colorbar that we talk more data and tech
than print.
Than we do print. And so it's not surprising that from a marketing perspective that they're talking about the data that they have on guests. They also talk about elevating the local store marketing experience. And one of the things that we've been engaging with our dining customers, especially those that are franchise owned, is giving them technology tools to elevate that local store marketing and put more power in the hands of the local stores to be able to do that. So
it's going to be, I think that will be really interesting too, because I think once we kind of got post-COVID, there's a lot of things that I feel like we're kind of in the space. Now with new technologies and new tools, I feel like it's a different conversation, but guest experience, data, loyalty programs, getting people, in restaurant, those type of things. I feel like there's a shift in focus where, loyalty was always kind of talked about. Then we kind of had a break due to COVID. And now I kind of almost feel like there's a new resurgence of, yes, this is how we drive traffic. We want, we want loyal brand followers. We want to reward them for being loyal to us. We want to reward them for being loyal and dining in restaurant with us.
Right.
So, but what that looks like, because we have a whole lot more tools and technology at our disposal now than we did 5 years ago, and how to leverage that. So I think some of those conversations it's going to be really interesting to see what some of the folks have been doing over the past year.
Well, the other thing I like about MEG and hearing what people are doing is you also look at some of the attendees and people that were on the steering committee, and there's a lot of, you made this point that there's smaller brands and big brands represented, but I think there's also those emerging brands that we hear about and that are starting to have a little bit of a buzz in the marketplace about what they're doing differently. So really excited for you to come back with some nuggets about what are those emerging restaurants, what are they doing different from the more, more tenured brands that are out there.
And they can move faster. So I've always thought that's
true.
I've always thought that's, because you'll hear, emerging brands and there's all this cool stuff. And so I think, you've got more flexibility and you can move faster because, you have less units to move.
Right.
I mean, moving 1,500 units into a new position is different than moving 50. So I think they have, and this is just my opinion, I just think that they have some flexibility to quickly try something new and gain a quick snapshot of, yes, this is where we want to go, or no, maybe not, but the impact I feel is different.
Yeah.
So that usually is, so, it's always kind of like a great think tank and kind of like a great test market to kind of, talk and see what everybody's doing. So on the last day, like you mentioned, they do these roundtable conversations. And that's always kind of been my favorite part, because you're kind of like, you were invited, but you're kind of like a fly on the wall, so to speak. So you've got all these marketers from different brands, and every table has a different topic, and you sign up for it. But that's all that table talks about. So how do you optimize your guest data, the loyalty conversation. So it's always interesting to hear how, so like I said, it's open dialogue. So it's always great to hear what everybody's doing, the exchange of ideas, and it usually is a very much of a, does that work, did that not work, how did it work for you, would you do it again, type of thing. So it really is kind of like a joint learning session for the betterment of the dining industry.
Well,
I guess is one way to
you learn more from what didn't work versus what did work. The other topic that I thought was interesting, and this kind of goes back to the emerging brands, we have some of our clients that we work with that are, I wouldn't say up and coming, but are having this growth moment.
Yes.
And so some of our brands that we work with are saying we're opening 50, 100 locations, and so there's a topic around new restaurant openings.
And new restaurant marketing and what that looks like.
Yes.
And that's always
Talking about needing to move fast and all of the components that you have to consider when you're having that kind of growth is different than those that have been established and are trying to just continue to maintain. But those that are growing have a whole nother set of obstacles to tackle.
Yeah, and usually, you usually get a new restaurant opening schedule, and they never open when you're rolling out a rollout. They either usually, just ironically, they usually open before a menu goes live nationally,
Okay.
or afterwards or whatnot. So usually they have a little ecosystem of their own. But yeah, it's getting in there. It's getting them there way ahead of time because they'll use them to train, all the servers and the restaurant staff on the menu, what's on it, how you talk to the guest, how we want you to approach the guest at the table. So all of that training and the training materials as well as all the menus get there. So to ensure that when the restaurant opened, everybody knows exactly what they need to do and how to execute.
I mean, again, it's creating that guest experience, and it crosses everything. Again, from the servers to the hostess. It's kind
Absolutely.
of immediately kind of setting the stage for what the experience is going to be like.
But I think they're also really exciting topics, like for us in the dining space, because everything is I feel like up and up. It's like, okay, we want to drive traffic. We want you to have an in-person dining experience. I mean, not that people didn't want that before, but I just feel like there's an energy, almost a new energy about it, and a new focus, and how we can leverage data and AI and tech tools to, really put butts in seats.
Well, I mean, look, one of the reasons that we go to this, we'll be very honest, we're trying to run across potential new customers and how we can support them. But I think one of the other reasons that we try to attend events like MEG is because it's an opportunity for us to learn to recognize where we need to go next. When we talk about we need to level up as a company all the time, and we talk about our technologies that we do for the dining industry, and so you come back with and bring to our teams, this is what
Absolutely.
I'm hearing, this is what they're saying that they need. How can we
Where do we
do
need
something
to go?
differently with our technology, or where we need to go with our roadmap to help solve for some of this and bring it to market?
No, it totally helps us plan our roadmap to your point. It completely does. It kind of really is like an in-depth, couple days that also sprinkles in a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
I don't want to make it.
I don't
Chicago. Right. I don't want to make it sound like, geez, I have to go to school or something. I mean, it's fun. Like I said, there's always great speakers. There's always a lot of really, really good takeaways, and it does kind of give you a level set. We heard it from you. This is what you're seeing in your space, and this is what you guys as marketers for restaurant brands are experiencing, and what you need, and really where you want to take your brand and your guest. What journey do you want to map out, and then for us to, align ourselves to how we can best execute and help them get there.
Yep. And the other thing I think is interesting is I think these moments are opportunities for people to realize that they're not on an island alone. I think we've said this before too, that for you as a marketer, from attending from a brand perspective, to go, oh God, thank God I'm not the only one that doesn't have this figured out. And to be able to brainstorm and bounce ideas off others that are sitting in similar chairs that you are, should be really
No, the
great.
conversations are always the best part. I mean, there's always great learnings and stuff, but listening to everybody's own personal, this is where we are, this is what we're seeing, how are you doing it? And like I said, just the fact that they've kind of created this space that truly is an open exchange of ideas to understand the industry and continue to grow and evolve the dining industry, and marketing being a huge part of that, and just kind of continuing that conversation and evolving it. So it's always a great time. So I'm super excited to be going in a couple weeks.
I love it. Well, keep your eyes out for people that we might want to have as guests.
Yeah, I will.
On Colorbar, and have them come.
I'll get with George. I'll start rubbing elbows with George.
Exactly.
I'll be like, hey, George.
Please do that. Please do that. We'll have a wonderful time. I can't wait
will.
for you to get back and fill us in on all the deets. We'll have to talk about it in a follow-up Colorbar.
We will. We'll have to follow up on D-Scope. This is where Betsy and Kim divide and conquer.
We divide and conquer.
We're divide and conquer. Then we will come back back together
and share all the details.
And share all the dirt and details on, yes, on all things marketing, digital, and print. So absolutely.
Perfect. Well, safe travels.
Thank you, you too.
Yep. All right. We'll see you soon.
Definitely.
Thanks, everybody. Bye. We'll see you soon on Colorbar.